You have your own podcast. That's like a couple of things. So you've done a lot.
I regret most of those things.
You regret most of those things.
Most of
Okay.
them, yes.
Well, we'll definitely get into that. I wanted to start off with maybe you could give us a bit of a background of who you are and what it is that you do. Brief. We can start there.
Yeah. My mom put me in child acting when I was 6, and by 11, I was successful at it to the point that I was kind of supporting my family. And then by 14, I got like the role that I would say I became most known for on a really popular show called iCarly. And then there was a spinoff from that show that I also did. And then I did a Netflix show after that. So that was kind of my career up to 23. It was all acting. And then my mom actually passed away when I was 21. And that led to an identity crisis of sorts for me, where I was realizing, well, shit, I've been living. Can I cuss on this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I was like, shit, my mom wanted me to be this actress, and that wasn't my dream. And what do I want out of my life? So I quit acting and began pursuing writing and directing, which is what ideally I would like to make a career out of. And that's what I'm pursuing now.
Yeah. So that must have been a weird. There's a bunch to get into, but that must have been strange as like a total kid, being the main moneymaker for your family.
Yeah, it was overwhelming, but I also think looking back on it, like without being like, oh, I'm trying to find the silver lining, I actually do think it was really helpful for me to learn that kind of work ethic, because knowing that like I had to support the family was a help. Like, I don't think I would have had that much drive if I was just like, I want to act, let me have fun. Or like if fun was the drive, I don't think that's gonna get you to get as good at a thing, as quick at a thing as if you're like, fuck, I got to put food on the table.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I knew you grew up in a Mormon family too, right?
Oh yeah.
So how did that start? Like, how did your mom get into, putting you into acting, and how did you end up growing to get as big as you are?
I mean, I have complex feelings toward religion. I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts on it overall as well, because it's just, I think it's such an interesting topic, and something that so kind of can be so fun to get into, and why people believe what they believe and how. But my mom, so my grandma grew up in Eureka, Utah, which was like heavy into Mormonism. So I guess she was baptized, but they never went to church, were not active remotely, just baptized Mormon and kind of left it at the door. And then my mom got breast cancer for the first time when I was 2 years old. And all of a sudden we just started going to church all the time. So my sort of harsh judgment toward religion, or at least my family's experience with it, is that my mom just like threw herself at religion as soon as her life wasn't going well, in an attempt of like, God, please help me. And then because she did have this miraculous recovery, she had stage 4 metastatic ductal carcinoma. The doctors told her she would not survive, and she did. And I think because of that, she thought, well, it's all because of God. So then she kind of like threw herself even more into religion after her recovery.
Okay, that's really interesting. My mom got diagnosed with like deadly cancer. It was called collecting duct carcinoma. And she was given 8 months. This was a couple of years ago.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was, I mean, you've obviously been there, and your mom passed away, but it was not good. And she miraculously survived, even though everyone said she wasn't going to. And she's found God. So she's become, she was always like, there was always the idea of maybe going to church. And I think I went to church maybe twice as a kid, like, or maybe for a couple of Christmases. So it wasn't a big thing. We were more into, the stories behind the Bible and kind of the philosophy behind it. Sure. But more recently, like my mom, I would say, has refound religion or found God. And that really had to do with her recovering miraculously from this cancer. So I get that.
Yeah. Did you have any experience with like rediscovering religion because of her cancer, or is it not that way for you?
No, like she talks to me about it a bit, and if I get super stressed